Is logistics here yet? Okay, Miranda, we go about one or two more rounds. So 10 sharp we start, yeah? Go to the next slide. 10 sharp. That's
Or
it.
do I go to next slide now?
Not yet, not yet. After this, in bit. Okay, so Miranda, you can go to the next slide. Oh, not this one. House rules. House rules.
Dear participants, our workshop will begin shortly. There are a few housekeeping announcements. First, please ensure your microphones are muted when you are not speaking to avoid any disruption throughout the event. Secondly, please do not play with the request control button as well as the spotlight button to not disturb the viewing experience of others. And last but not least, we highly encourage everyone to turn on your webcam to make this session more engaging. Also, please be reminded that this event will be recorded. Thank you.
Next slide.
Good morning, everyone. It is my greatest pleasure to welcome all of you to the LinkedIn workshop. I'm Shiva, your MC for today's workshop. The LinkedIn workshop is mainly organized to assist students in creating a professional LinkedIn profile and optimizing it to network their way into the professional world, at the same time to find a best fit job that they are qualified for. At the end of this workshop, you will learn how to increase the chances of working for your dream company or finding your dream job, how to stay on top of industry news and trends so that you can ace your interview with a potential employer. You also can get a chance to network with fellow industry professionals and earn powerful recommendations. Our speaker for today's session is a graduate of University of Queensland in Commerce and majors in
Next page.
Accounting and Finance. He has been a sales and distribution intern at United Overseas Bank Limited. Besides that, he has working experience as a regional buying operation executive at Zalora Group and also as an inside sales executive at UPS. Currently, he is a sales development representative at LinkedIn. Let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Darren Lim. Reminder to all the attendees, if you have any question for the speaker, please type it in the chat
Next
box
page.
and our committees will choose a few to be answered by the speaker during the Q&A session. Now, without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to our speaker, Mr. Darren Lim, to begin with our workshop today. On to you, Mr. Darren.
Hi everyone.
I stop sharing now.
Thank you, Shiva. Just give me 1 second. Just wanted to be sure like there's no echo and everything. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay. So just give me 1 second. Let me share my screen.
Miranda, you can stop sharing screen.
Okay. Yeah, so like a very good morning to all of you. I'm really excited to be here, and it's an honor to be presenting and sharing more to you guys at University of Malaya with about LinkedIn and with all of you guys. Thanks for having me this morning. I hope that everyone is, I hope that everyone had your breakfast. Again, very good morning and to all of you. So yeah, thanks for the introduction again, Shiva, and a very brief, about introduction about myself as a talent and learning representative, solution representative from LinkedIn. So my name is Darun. And as mentioned by Shiva, I've been with LinkedIn for the past 8 to 9 months now. And if you can see, like from my background and whatever information that's available on LinkedIn, I actually came from a mix of different academic background, and also subsequently I did something that is completely non-related to whatever I studied in uni. And so it was a mix of experience in terms of my career progression up until this point so far. Different companies, different roles, different skills, different experience needed. So in this workshop or this event, I will be explaining more towards that, and especially for students, graduate students, uni students, how you guys can what your progression in terms of career after graduation may look like, even if you studied something in uni, certain courses, or whatever your background, academic background is. After you graduate, a lot of things will change, definitely, and it's not like fixed to a certain job role or title that you guys need to stick to. Everything is very dynamic. It can change. It's up to you how you want to present and sell yourself eventually to potential employers, and be how you guys want to get the dream job, or something that you guys have passion about. And yeah, so I'll be explaining more about that in this session. So moving on to the next slide, you will be able to see a little bit more about my experience. So running through that, right? I'm just gonna go through my professional experience, not so much on what I did in uni time. So, just a brief one on that. I have an accounting and finance major in uni. And after graduation, I went into this e-commerce company called Zalora, and I was there doing operations in an operations role for about 2 years, and then subsequently I went into sales. How this happened is somewhere along the lines, I actually realized that I have an interest and passion in communication with people, and my strong suit is actually communication and building relationships. So eventually I realized that sales is something that I really like, and I got my foot through the door into a sales role in logistics, and then eventually LinkedIn, which I've never looked back since. And it has been a really fulfilling career so far, especially with LinkedIn. And I'll go into a bit on how that happened as well. Somewhere in the workshop, I'll share a bit of my story, my experience, and how that may potentially be applicable to all of you guys as well after uni. So yeah, that's some very brief information about myself. And let's get started on what actually LinkedIn is. LinkedIn is actually, I'm not sure how much you guys know about LinkedIn. So if you guys I wanted to know as well, how many of you guys here actually have a LinkedIn profile, know what LinkedIn is, or don't know what LinkedIn is. If you can show, I'm not sure if the hand raising button is available, but if you guys can show a bit more, or just put into the chat box. Nice. Nice. Okay. I've seen some. So how many of you guys don't know what actually LinkedIn is? Yeah, I see some responses, but I'm not too sure what was it. But yeah, happy to cover all that also. What is it about? What is it not about? And basically to give you more idea, right, on how to leverage that. What is the main purpose of the platform? And yeah, so let's get started on a bit of introduction on the LinkedIn platform. And after that, we will dive a bit deeper into the agenda that we'll be covering today with a few points. And then I'll be elaborating those as I go on. So essentially, what LinkedIn is, right? LinkedIn is a professional networking platform, much like all the major ones that you have out there, Facebook, Instagram. I guess a lot of the perception of people generally is that, oh, LinkedIn is actually just a job portal or job boards that people go onto to find jobs, and job seekers go onto it to find whatever jobs that they need to. People who are don't have a job, or graduate students or uni students who just graduated from uni and are looking for their first gig and things like that, right? But that's actually not the case, although that is the perception of a lot of people. LinkedIn is essentially a social media platform, just like any other. And it is a very specific social media platform, in a sense that everything that revolves around it is very career centric, professional centric, and also maybe recruitment centric. And yeah, so that is in a nutshell what it really is. And to share with you guys, obviously different social media platform has different purpose and objective at the end of the day. So how does LinkedIn compare to the rest? To the main ones out there, right? Just to name a few, Facebook. On Facebook, it is something that is more casual and personal, right? So you'll be sharing a lot of things that is related to you personally with your friends or your family and things like that. So your interest, your personal interests and whatnot. And same goes to, TikTok or Instagram. Is just in different forms of media, maybe short snippets of videos, pictures. It's applicable for Pinterest, Spotify as well, but different forms of media with different purpose and objective at the end of the day. So LinkedIn is the same, is similar in that sense, but the mindset or the end objective is actually very different. So what is it all about with LinkedIn? It is actually, a lot of it's catered a lot to professionals. So if you're on it, if you are on LinkedIn, if you are familiar with LinkedIn, if you know what it is, it would be good to have like a professional mindset on LinkedIn. So like some of the questions that you may be asking yourself on LinkedIn, right, would be let's say for example you really like pizza. And some of the questions that revolve around that would be like, how do you operate a pizza franchise one day, if that's your aspiration? Or like, if you are looking at a job at a pizza company, how do you get that job at a pizza company? And if you want to showcase your pizza experience, anything related to, pizza making or whatever it is, how many years of experience, what sort of skill sets that you have that's related to pizza. So all that is something that would be related to how you showcase yourself on LinkedIn, how you find more information about how you go about, setting your pizza company on LinkedIn, how you find that specific role on LinkedIn, relating to pizza, and also, connect with like-minded people, pizza lovers, fellow pizza lovers, and things like that, and share like information or best practices regarding pizzas, I guess, on LinkedIn. So essentially, it revolves around a lot on this, and potentially that would be some of the questions you'll be asking yourself. And yeah, so hope that you guys have a better understanding of what the platform is. It's not a job portal, not a job board. It is a social media for professionals. So yeah, with that being said, it is so powerful, right? In my opinion. And let's get connected. Connect with people, friends, family, colleagues, anyone that you may know. And it's essentially like the power of networking. Like it's no longer physical, right, nowadays. So it's essentially the power of networking at your fingertips in your mobile devices, and you can just go about it anywhere, anytime you want. So yeah, that would be LinkedIn in a nutshell. And let's go into a bit more details on what I will be sharing today. So some of the agenda would be like, I've introduced what is LinkedIn as a platform to you guys earlier, getting to know LinkedIn as you go along the slides and also the presentation. Get more ideas as well. But generally, what we'll be covering today mostly is setting up your LinkedIn profile. How do you get noticed? Essentially, how it works on the back end side of things. A bit of behind the scenes on how it actually works. And after that, with a LinkedIn profile, how do you actually network with people that you need to network within your community, friends, family, colleagues, uni mates, mentors, professionals, and with the objective and the goal, like to potentially launch your career after uni, right? And also, obviously, in uni, you guys will be learning your main skill sets on what you guys will be doing after uni. So after that, right, going deeper into LinkedIn as well, how you can leverage the platform to learn new skills, connect with like professionals, and find like-minded people, basically to upskill yourself. So you guys will be constantly learning things as you go. So it's not stagnant. It's always changing. And yep. So these are the four main things that I'll be going deeper into. And let's dive in. So, right. So going into LinkedIn, right? As a uni student and eventually like, working professional. So why is it important to get noticed? And how do you do that? So first of all, why is it important? It's because like, even now, when you guys are uni students, it's already very competitive, depending on what you guys want to do, what sort of roles that you guys want to go into. eventually, the landscape is already very competitive. Like, you guys will be competing with other fellow students, and after graduating other fellow professionals. So, companies have a lot to choose from nowadays. And because of the competition, it would be good for all of you to stand out, right, from the crowd. So as to not seem like too generic, finding the things that you like best. And also skills wise, what you learn in uni today, it may be different already. Few years down the line, what we learned before is already very different from today. So it's always changing. It's never fixed. Things get outdated really quickly, especially even more so now. As you guys can see, like so much change has happened in terms of the workforce, and with COVID and everything happening now, right? Everything is changing so fast. Companies are transforming. New skills are coming out. On a daily basis, like things that we have never seen before in the past. So it's always changing. New skills are emerging, and companies expect people to change with them also and transform with them. So then, upskilling is a very important aspect now and moving forward. And also, there's a lot of disruption going on, like new tech coming out, new processes, new sort of companies. The latest thing that we have been seeing now, like, has been trending rapidly, like within the past few years, would be blockchain. The crypto industry it's exploding. It's people are getting to know or recognize them more in terms of the value that they can bring. So that brings about a lot of new skills as well that is needed, especially in the upcoming workforce, right? For students, even more important for students to learn those necessary skills when they eventually enter the workforce. So a lot of disruption going on. Crypto is just one example. Virtual reality augmentation, that's coming up also. A lot of things related to that. In the medical field, in the logistics field, how they are using virtual reality augmentation to do visualization on the data. This is not available, or is not that much being heard of few years ago compared to now. So like with us working in the forefront of recruitment, human resources, we see all these things happening firsthand, right? So just to share a bit more with you on what's actually happening, what sort of disruption, what sort of tech, new tech is coming into the industry, as we progress. So yeah, why LinkedIn? Why should you get noticed? These are some of the main reasons. And going forward, right? In order to, I guess, like, for you guys to resonate with that, why LinkedIn, why should you get noticed, and why, it is so important. Because in LinkedIn, like, to put it short, our main mission is actually to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. So what this means, what does this mean to, everyone? Essentially, our goal for the long term is to map out every single person in the global workforce, with every organization, company, every institution that you can think of. Doesn't matter what the workforce is, who that person is, casual, part-timers, intern, full-timers, professional. Our goal is to map all these people out, and it would be placed on this thing that we call global economic graph, which is essentially the entire LinkedIn platform, where you can find hopefully one day you will be able to find every single person in the world that is in the workforce and get connected, linked up. So everything is becoming smaller, everything is becoming faster. So essentially, this is our goal for the long term, and why LinkedIn is important, even more so as students. So it's never too early to, start having a LinkedIn account, start networking with your peers, and start to build your network, and also your personal branding, right? As we like to call it. So yeah, essentially, so this is our mission. And on the next slide, I'm just gonna share a short video on what that actually looks like from a summary point of view. Just give me 1 second. I may have forgotten to share with audio. Okay. It should be working. Make some noise. Let me know if it's not, if you guys can't hear anything. But here we go. Let's see how that turns out.
LinkedIn's economic graph is a digital representation of the global economy. As members change jobs, as companies evolve, as positions are posted, as skills are learned, the economic graph grows. And now we're helping those members, taking what they're adding to the graph and creating new opportunities with those insights. From business owners to company builders to culture creators to policymakers, students, and strivers. The global LinkedIn community is contributing to the economic graph, bringing people and communities together to create opportunities for others, one member at a time.
Okay. Just give me another second. Just let me rearrange my windows. So, yeah, so as you can see with the video just now, the end product of it and the end objective of it would be like this entire giant web, or like this economic graph as we call it, right? And everyone would be connected to, essentially everyone in the workforce. And what this allows us to do is, to map out those job titles, skill sets, experience, transferable skills, soft skills, hard skills, anything, experience, to map this out globally as data points where we can eventually utilize, and hopefully, like, it will benefit the world in a macro way, right? So this is the mission and end objective of LinkedIn. So like to going into a bit more of the educational side, and also the technical side of, when you first start to set up your LinkedIn profile, what you may come across is that, when you first started, without much connection, or you are just starting to build out your connection now, right? One of the first few things that you may notice would be like, the first, second, and third degree of connection. And you may be asking, like, what is it? Or some of you that already have a LinkedIn profile may already be seeing this. So what is it? To put it in a very simple term, right? First, second, and third degree. Like, if I am Chris, for example, we are connected. So he would be my first degree. So he's my friend. And then the second degree would be my friend's friend. And then the third degree would be my friend's friend. So up to 3 levels. And essentially, once you get connected, once you establish your own network, it will start spreading. And you can just see, like, what sort of growth it will be expanding exponentially once you start building your own network on LinkedIn, and essentially be connected to someone in some ways. And why is it important, again, to know this and how it actually works, right? Is because research actually shows that your weak connection, the second and third degree onwards, are actually more valuable for your job search than your first degree connection, than your strong existing connection. Because if you are connected to your second and third degree, their more diverse network may potentially be useful for you to sort of expand your network as well. So to give you a good example of this is, for example, my friends cousin. So I'm connected to my friend, and my friend is connected to his or her cousin. And his cousin work at maybe Amazon, and Amazon is a company that I would really like to work for someday. But I've never actually met that cousin, and potentially she can help me find a job there and connect me with people in my field in Amazon. So like helping people or helping someone to introduce someone into wherever they are working, making a referral or making an introduction. This is some of how the value comes in with your third and second or third degree connection, like potentially introducing someone whom you may know but not really familiar with, I guess. And so this would be the value that if you are connected somewhat in some ways on LinkedIn, you never know what sort of possibilities and door it may open up for you down the line. And in terms of from a profile point of view and news feed point of view, right? If you have a lot of second and third degree as well, you'll be able to see their activities on LinkedIn, what they engage in, and get connected potentially. So what they are discussing, what they are liking, what they are sharing, you will be able to see that as well. So that will add to your professional knowledge, if it relates to whatever industry that you are in, whatever company that you are eyeing for. And just to give you guys a few examples. So again, plenty of opportunity there. You may not know what sort of door it may open for you down the line. And it's always good to build your connection, your network up. If you are able to understand it properly, the better and the more quality and strength your connection will be. So this is a bit of information on connecting with people after you have set up your LinkedIn profile and what it actually means. So moving forward, on to the next slide. A bit of background. Again, we talked about the global economic graph and creating economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce, right? So where are we now at LinkedIn as a platform? There's up to this point, there's about like 800 million members, and a big portion of it, which is always growing, always changing, are actually students and graduates, and eventually they will transform into like professionals in whatever industry that may be. And on top of the members, there are also 300 million companies. It's always growing as well, and all these will include any organization that you can think of, virtually any organizations, institutions, non-for-profit organizations, for-profit organizations, businesses, small, medium businesses, sole prop entrepreneurs, whatever. So we are mapping all these out as well. And schools, educational institution, healthcare institution, all that as well, mapping those organizations out and have them on that same place. And this is how we connect those opportunities or people, and the people to the right opportunities, or the right opportunities to the right people. So this is how we go about doing that. And yeah, so that's pretty much it in terms of connection after you have your LinkedIn profile up, how you go about that, what goes on in the background. And let's move on into getting noticed, and how do you go about that to grab attention, to stand out from the crowd, setting up your LinkedIn profile to stand out from the crowd. What can you do? What can you change? What can you input into your LinkedIn profile when you're setting it up? So first of all, it's very straightforward, simple. Would be to like add a photo of yourself, clean, crisp, no blurry pictures, like sharp, something that is professional, something that looks professional. So why is this important? Like a profile that has a picture is 21 more times more likely to get views. Like people are more likely to look into what is in your profile in terms of your experience and your skills. What does this person offer? So the picture is so important, that because it's the first point of visual that actually grab our attention, right? So we work with a lot of recruiters as well. I work with a lot of recruiters as well from my day-to-day job. And essentially, when we look at people on LinkedIn, when we do our researches, those people that has an attractive picture or a nice picture would be someone that seems more trustworthy, someone that seems more just solid professionally as a whole. And it's sort of like it gives you the vibe where you got nothing to hide, instead of not putting a profile picture where people can't see any of your face and things like that. So choose a great picture, and the picture should fill out most of the frame that you are in. Your face should fill out most of that frame that you are in, and that would be a really, really solid, good start. And yeah, so just be professional on that. And then going on to the next one, what is it to add? Like, especially for uni students, I guess, like when you start up with your profile, it will automatically give you prompts, right? Like when you go into the profile and then you're setting it up, it will give you prompts, it will give you suggestions and things like that. So start by putting your education, what you guys do in uni, what you guys study, some of the courses that may be applicable for what you want to do in the future. If you don't know that now, it's fine. Eventually you can add it in also as you figure that out. One of the things that I face personally is last time when I was a uni student, I do not necessarily have a lot of experience or a lot of academic background and things like that to share. That is okay as well. Like, just start out with the title, and then eventually as you go, as you gain a bit more experience, as you study more and things like that, you can build on that, and you can build on that profile also. And then as you go along, your profile will look more and more better down the line. So I guess the main thing here, right, to take note of is that fill up the relevant fields that are applicable for you, anything at all, like in terms of education, unis, academic awards, results, if you have good ones, of course, activities, leadership clubs, positions, what position you hold in that club. Try to elaborate more on that, be as elaborative as you can on those points, and use keywords. Like I will probably be stressing a lot more on keywords as we go along this workshop, because that's actually important, and that's also the main method of the algorithm that's working behind LinkedIn, right? A lot of keywords matches. How we do is we match keywords from profile to whatever that is going on the back end. And that's how we populate those feeds, like those news feeds, jobs feeds, whatever that's appearing in your, if you scroll through LinkedIn on a daily basis, that's how we match those relevant stuff to your experience, and then push that out to you. And, those are the ones that are applicable. Potentially, those are the ones that interest you, and with the hope or the objective that you can get something that interests you, right? For example, your dream job or working for a dream company. So keywords is very important. Be elaborative, but not too much with unnecessary filler words or gap words. So use words that are relevant. One good tip is like potentially look through more or study more job descriptions. Like, I understand, again, like you guys are uni students, but it's never too early to start as well. Like, know what people actually do. Like, read through job descriptions just to see like, oh, what interests you in this role and things like that, and try to relate that back to your current experience and start building your profile on those points, right? Yeah, so education, expand on that. And then going on to the next slide would be work experience, if you have any. So maybe you don't have any, or maybe you have some now. In terms of maybe part-time internship experience, part-time experience, casual experience. As you go, the profile is not something that is fixed. You can change it as well. So maybe at this point, you guys do not have a lot, or even do not have any, which is okay. But feel free to like input anything that is relevant to what you hope you want to be, potentially after you graduate, anything at all. Again, it doesn't have to be limited to professional experience, can be, anything that you guys do that is related to uni, club activities, volunteer experience, and things like that. So there are different sections for you to input that. And, again, the keyword would be elaborative and use keyword that is relevant to what you see yourself becoming eventually, and try to like match that, expand those description. Again, describing what you have accomplished in those things that you have done as well is important. So those complete profiles will tend to get more views than incomplete profiles. So this is one of the main points that I would like to bring up as well. And yeah, so it's good to like fill up each field with the relevant data, and then after that you expand from there. Or once you guys get more and more experience down the line, you can change it as well. You can take out those that is no longer relevant, or you can update as you go. So this is the beauty of it. Like it's a living, breathing platform. So it's always changing, it's always dynamic, it's not fixed. So, if you guys can see this from an early point of view, it would be really useful down the line. Moving on. We touched a bit about volunteer experience as well. In the previous slide. So there's also a specific field in your profile where you can include specific volunteer experience as well. And this is also important, especially with a lot of companies nowadays where we see like, they are huge on social impact or sustainability initiatives. They actually care when potential employees have this sort of experience, right? It actually shows them that the employee is putting some thoughts into what they can contribute back to the society, right? Not just from an economical point of view, but also like a lot to do with social impact. So this is important. It's even more important for you guys to build it now when you have more time as a uni student, and this can be added into your profile as well. And potentially, it may be something that is useful. It may be something that may catch the potential employers' attention, that you guys have this sort of experience, which may be transferable to your professional career as well eventually. So again, the same thing: experience, volunteer experience, any accomplishment, any awards. And if there's anything that interests you on LinkedIn as well, like for example, social groups or any groups that you would like to join, would like to participate, much like a Facebook group as well, join those, keep up to date with what's happening there, and then learn, gather more information. May be useful also when it comes up with interview to expand your talking points and things like that. The more information that you have, the more insights and the more you know, in terms of the general landscape of the industry that you want to potentially work for, then the more prepared you will be for any sort of like upcoming professional interviews and things like that. So some of these can help you eventually on your journey. Yeah, some examples of, as you can see from the slide, would be some examples of how it will look like. It doesn't matter if you are not working yet, whatever you do in uni, put it in and elaborate on that, expand on that with those keyword matches, relevant keywords. And skills. Previously, I think this question was raised like, how, like, do you guys really need to be endorsed by other people in terms of like skills and whatnot? So happy to address a bit on this slide. Basically, anyone can endorse any other person with the skills that that person have or that they recognize. But obviously, like, keeping quality in mind, try to be as truthful as possible. Like your peers or your lecturers or your mentors, if you're connected to them or if you're associated with them on LinkedIn, they can endorse you for any skills that you may have. So it's important to, build your reputation, put yourself out there so that people know what you are actually good at. And once someone endorses you for like certain skill sets on your profile, it will show up there as well. And this is important because when recruiters and also employers, when they are looking for people, right, this is actually one of the filters that show up on their platform, on their user interface, where they can actually input and it can filter out all those people that has, potentially certain skills that they are looking for. And that increases the chance of your profile view as well, and also the chance of people actually reaching out to you for any potential roles that they may have, if you have like, the skill sets that they are looking for. So this is how it fits into the recruiters or the employer's point of view in terms of what sort of skills you have on your profile. And that makes it even stronger if it's endorsed by someone else, your peers or your mentors, whoever that you have. So it's good to expand on this as you grow, as you build your profile, and how this is important. Recommendations from professors and teachers is important. Those are the stronger ones, I would say. And technical, soft skills, hard skills, add those in, get people to endorse you, and that would also strengthen your profile. On to the next slide. And this is sort of like my personal favorite, I guess, because I feel like it impacts a lot, especially when someone don't know who you are, and they come to your profile, and this is like the first glimpse that you are able to offer them, which showcases your professional personality, right? I like to call it. So a good way to write this would be, imagine yourself in an elevator with the CEO of your dreams, right? Your dream company. It's just you and that CEO. And that person asks you, so what do you do for a living? And, what would you say to him or her in the next 30 seconds? So essentially, that is your elevator pitch for yourself, for your personal brand, how you want to put yourself out there in 30 seconds. How can you let that particular CEO know your personal traits and things like that within 30 seconds? So figure that out. And if you can come up with something that is sweet, crisp, and concise, put that into the summary. And this would be your, about you summary, so that people can get a bit of idea, get a bit of glimpse onto who you are professionally, and make it stick, like, impactful, based on your past experience, what you've done, what you have, where you have grown up, and where you have grown up, and things like that. So something special, something, something that has a bit of impact. So 30 seconds elevator pitch, keep it short, less than 100 words, keep it impactful. So that is the general gist of, building your LinkedIn profile. Steps, the fields that you guys need to fill up as you go. And the next one will be, once that is completed, how do you go about building your network and expanding that, and also like, getting more, I guess, integrated virtually into that community that interests you, what you study or what you aspire to become after you graduate, right? So we'll go into more details on that. And so once the profile is up and running, I guess one of the good start would be to connect with your immediate peers, start building your connection, immediate peers, professionals in your, your field of studies, perhaps. A uni is a good place to start. Lecturers, professors, fellow uni mates is a good place to start. And all these, they are sort of like your alumni. So eventually, like after you go into the workforce, these people will be, your alumni. And Sorry, I was hearing a bit of echo. All good? Okay.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, so what was I saying? Connecting with your peers. Uni is a good place to start. And like your immediate peers, fellow uni mates, lecturers, professors. These people will be your alumni eventually once you enter the workforce, graduate as a student, and then become a professional in whatever field that you are working. And one of the good thing about this is, if you are connected with these people that has been tagged to, or is already tagging themselves into that same potentially professional or educational institution that you are in currently, you'll be able to see them appearing in your newsfeed or your profile as well. Like, for example, when you visit certain company page, right, you'll be able to see like, oh, there's maybe like 8 or 10 or 20 alumni that is actually working here. So you never know, potentially any of them, your current peers may be a strong connection to whatever company that you would like to work for. You never know. So, it opens up a lot of opportunity there as well. And why is this important is because, like, potentially they may be working in companies, cities, or even countries that, it's not part of your network but interest you. And some of the, the stronger way that companies recruit for, right, is through employees referral. So it's generally a lot faster, and recruiters or employers generally trust whatever they have already within their own organization. So like, if those people were to refer or recommend you, you would be a very strong candidate in that sense. So why is this useful? That would be the main point. And let's move on. Also, why should you network, right? Always be networking. In terms of your physical life, personal presence, and also virtually, right? Always be networking, because it takes time to build your network virtually or physically. Uh, Never wait until you need to start to look for a job, or after you graduate, like, and then you want to start to do that networking, right? It may be too late. That is my own personal mistake as well. Because last time when I was in uni as a uni student, I did not put too much emphasis on this sort of effort, because I did not understand the value of this as a uni student, right? So I started a bit late, and again, never too early to start. Also never too late to start. So you will never know when you may come across other people's thought process on your news feed, or any sort of opportunity that comes across that you come across on your news feed, potentially through your connection. And share with as many people as possible, like friends, family, peers. If you are posting on LinkedIn, if you are sharing whatever you might be facing, things like that, experience, motivational experience, aspirations, share them on LinkedIn. You will never know who may see that, and just break out on your silo, right? Don't stay in your own world, and also be in your own shell. And then yeah, so that would be something that will be adding value to your professional career. So after that would be like nurturing your current network. So like engaging with certain posts, or commenting on certain things that interest you from peers or people, and shooting them a message from time to time if you see something interesting, or when someone shoot you a connection request and things like that, and you find that their profile interests you, their skill sets or their experience interests you, anything about them that sparks your curiosity, in that sense, get in touch with them, talk to them. Essentially is like how you would use any other social media. DMs on Instagram, messaging on Facebook, messaging on WhatsApp is the same thing, but this is in a professional and career-centric context. And the third one is like, what would you get out of it potentially? This is something that is a bit hard to do, but if you are able to do this, you'll be solid, you'll be all sweet, is that, you know, building a board of advisors, right? People that you can go to for advice, career advice, whatever sort of advice that you need, professional advice that is related to your professional aspiration. So if you have this, it can be anyone, mentors, family, friends, where if you come to a roadblock, or you know, you don't know what to do at any juncture of your professional career or life as a student, you don't know where to, you know, if you should specialize in something or if you should be, you know, a generalist in something, potentially you can turn to these people. They may be, you know, subject matter expert, or someone that knows you on a personal level, or, you know, someone that's more strategic, like, you know, professors or lecturers that you guys may already be interacting with now. So nurture them, get them to sort of as in, like, you can build your relationship with them. So like, get them to potentially provide you any sort of advice or inputs that, you know, may be valuable if contributed. So some of the advice in terms of building your network, nurturing them, building your relationships virtually. Moving on to the next one. So we were talking about networking within the community, and you know, how you can build that up. And we go another level, you know, potentially higher than that, would be following those companies. So this is part of your network also, and you can actually follow and get updates, get feedbacks in terms of you know, news, insights onto companies that you would like to work for, companies that interest you in any way. So this is actually good. Potentially can prepare you down the line for any sort of interviews that you may be coming across. And you know, these are some of the benefits: getting the latest news updates from the companies that you like, learn about their culture. You know, what is it like to work there? So potentially, if you follow them, you would be able to see like certain posts that is done by the company or any employees that they are posting on their behalf, right? On the company's behalf. So you learn more about their cultures and the value. What is it like working as an employee in that company? Do their leaders inspire you? Do you resonate with the company's values? And you know, how do you feel about their thought leaders? Like, is it someone that you like to work with or not so? This person does not resonate with you, this company's value does not resonate with you, and so on and so forth. So following them will give you all these insights, and it may be important for you to make a decision, and also, like, you know, potentially any sort of interviews that it may be helpful for you as well. And on top of that, building on top of, like, you know, following companies, sorry. Yeah. Building on top of that, following companies, you can also create, like, once you have followed them, you can create certain job alerts, explore jobs. Like, once you have learned more about them, you have more idea of what they're all about. And from there, right, if it's something that interests you, you can actually create job alerts for the companies that interest you, that you like, that you want to work for. And so if they have any open roles, or if they are, you know, suddenly they are recruiting for people or expanding, potentially they have something that you are keen to, a role that you are keen to join and things like that, you will receive alerts and whatnot, and you will get prompted on LinkedIn, and you know, it may give you that opportunity that you are looking for. So able to keep up to date with any job that pops up that may interest you, getting notified in positions that you may be eyeing for a really long time, right? So there's a story that I would like to share here as well. Like, it's actually a really good example of how I utilize this personally in my own career journey as well. So I started working, like, you know, earlier on I shared my working experience. So I started working in UPS, United Parcel Service, is a logistics company, in early 2019. And when I was about 1 year into my role, I actually learned that LinkedIn actually has an office in Malaysia. Back then, I did not know LinkedIn actually existed in Malaysia. So sometime in 2019, about 1 year into my role, I realized that, hey, we actually have a physical office in Malaysia. and they were actively recruiting during that time because they just set up their office and they were looking for people. But at that time, I've just gotten out from Zalora in operations, and I went into sales, and I've just gotten like proper sales experience in UPS. And at that time, I felt like I wasn't good enough, so I did not really apply to any positions. They were offering a few positions. LinkedIn were offering a few positions, but I did not apply to them because I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I was like, maybe I should stay a bit longer in UPS in my current sales role at that time, just to gain more experience and also like understand more about selling before I actually apply, because I want to make the shot count, right? And at that point in time, I was thinking like, why not work for the company that I have so much trust in their products, and also what they do resonate really well with them. Like, I've been a really avid LinkedIn user for a long time now, so like it would be really cool to work for them. And I did not apply, and so I stayed there. I stayed on in UPS for another year. Like, I think 6 months after going into 2020, eventually like COVID hit, and everything was closed, even like job positions and whatnot. Everything is just like so quiet, especially when COVID first started. Like, a lot of the times we like you look at jobs and recruiters, they are really active on LinkedIn, right? At that time, it was just like nothing, and LinkedIn actually closed down all the open jobs and open positions that they were hiring for at that time. So I sort of like lost my opportunity there. But at that time, I was really frustrated in my role as well. Like, I was actually ready to leave, but unfortunately the circumstances at that point was not to my favor, because even if I wanted to, there's no open roles for me to apply, right? And yeah, so I waited for another year, like from end of 2019 to 2020. And then, I've just been following LinkedIn the entire time. I heard like great things about them, their culture, their work values, and things like that. Like how, I just really believe in what they do. So I followed them. I constantly get updated. I constantly updated myself in terms of like news feed, what is happening in the company, how is it changing, do they have any sort of open roles, in any other offices, subscribe to their job alerts and things like that. So if there's anything that pops up, right, I would be one of the first one to get notified. And eventually, sometime in this year, early this year, March, after dragging for another year in UPS in a role that I was not really thriving for personal reasons, eventually one day I saw that my current role in LinkedIn open up. And I was like, oh my God, this is like, the golden opportunity for me that I need to like, capitalize on that. So I applied, and I was fortunate enough to be able to land this role, right? They eventually they called me, because at that time I was already really confident that this role is something that I want to, be in. I already know a lot about the role. I already know that I am capable of that, of filling up that role in terms of my own professional experience. So I was really confident, and I was lucky enough that they actually called me up, went through the interview process and everything. And because I was like rather well prepared in terms of what I know about the company, what they do, what their values are, and things like that. So the interview was, not really hard. It was still a tough interview, but the flow and the process was not that difficult. So yep, I ended up here, and I've never looked back since. So yeah, this is one of my own personal story on how I actually found a job in LinkedIn through LinkedIn. So kind of cool to share. And the next point that I would like to touch on would be following influencers, right? It's not just Instagram that has social media influencers. Professionally on LinkedIn, there you can find a lot of these influencers as well, professional influencers. So for example, for myself, I am into sales. So my career trajectory now is like, sales all the way. It's just different products, potentially different nature of selling and things like that. But the core principle remains the same. So I follow a lot of thought leaders, especially in the sales industry. Anything that's related to sales, I follow them, I connect with them. And from that, I've gained a lot of insights and knowledge about industry best practices, through posts, excuse me, through online posts that they create, like content creation from these influencers, right? They share best practices, tips and tricks on how to sell better, social selling, what is the current selling trend. Now this is just for me personally. It may be different for you depending on what sort of field that you are into. So follow those people that are relevant to yours, and then you will be able to expand your horizon on that knowledge, best practice, what is happening in the forefront of the industry, specifically from people instead of from a company point of view, right? And a lot of the times they have their own channel. They are posting a lot on LinkedIn. Maybe they have their own YouTube channel where you can link up and watch a bit of video or content if you find it interesting, of course. And also sometimes they run their own podcasts. So I really like this because it expands a lot on my own horizon, and I'm constantly improving based on what I see, what people share. These people are thought leaders in their own career or in the industry. So from that, I'm able to improve my selling skills as I progress in my career. So this has actually been really useful as well throughout my entire journey in my sales career, right? So invaluable. Moving on. You can also join groups and build your network from within that group. So again, it's like a lot like Facebook group. If you have like common shared interest or passion, or in Facebook you may be talking about hobbies, something more personal, something more casual. But on LinkedIn, it would be very professional. So having that professional mindset going into this is important. So you can meet meet professionals, share your career interests, gain insight knowledge, and hear from leading industry voices, right? Apart from expanding beyond your friends and a few alumni that you guys already have. So joining groups is a useful way to gain knowledge as well from this perspective. So some advice and also like things to remember when you actually get involved in this sort of engagement on that social media. Listen, listen and learn. That's the whole point, right? To collect like insights for any sort of to prepare yourself for future job interviews. And a good way to build your reputation would be to demonstrate the knowledge that you already have. Maybe at this point in time, if you join a group, if you feel like you can contribute positively to the community, share, post, and share your aspiration, and take the first step. Like it's never too late, and it's never too early. Relevant articles that people may find helpful and things like that. So that's a good way to build your reputation.